Then we had the next match in the cards: Logan Paul versus Seth freaking Rollins. So Logan Paul made his entrance from a zip line, which was very Hollywood-esque for him. And Seth Rollins, for his entrance, he started off with an orchestra conductor, and at first he tried to conduct the crowd. Speaking of the orchestra conductor, but you couldn't really because Seth's um, entrance involves that song. Whoa, whoa. I'm not sure if I'm doing that correctly, but the conductor tried to conduct the crowd so that they could say that part of the song, and the crowd really wasn't into it. So what the WWE did was, I guess, they phoned in fake which was very funny. So as for the entrance of Seth, I think it didn't really work out too well for the WWE. But yeah, just moving on to the match itself, they started chain wrestling first, and Logan Paul started by locking in Seth Rollins into submission. I've got to say, Logan Paul, for the small or few times that he has done wrestling in front of a big crowd, he has a lot of tools for him to become uh, a really good wrestler, because he just has that it factor and potential to be a wrestler. He has those facial expressions, and he's just an overall very good heel. And at this point he's better at the psychology of being a heel than most of these other wrestlers in the locker room in WWE and AEW. I think WWE should invest more time in Logan Paul. Now, moving back to the match, Logan Paul executed a very good gut wrench power bomb. And again, Logan Paul's punches looked very good. There was one spot where Logan Paul jumped from the mat inside the ring to the top rope, just like a box jump, into a moonsault, which got the crowd really popping. And eventually, Seth, of course, got his comeback. And what I noticed here, I wrote down here when Seth was making his comeback, damn, about this Logan Paul really knows how to sell. He knows how to sell very well, and makes the moves of Seth. They make the moves of Seth much better, because again, in this business, it takes two to tango, and I think Paul sold his Seth's moves very well. Um, then there was also another spot in the match where Seth did a three-peat suicide dive to the ringside while Logan Paul was outside, and that was very nice. Again, Seth, as we know, is a very good worker in the ring, and if you put Logan Paul against with a established veteran who knows how to direct the match, it goes very well for him. And I think Seth was a good partner for him here in this match, because Seth, as we know, is a very good worker, and he knows how to direct traffic in the match. And there was a spot there where Seth stomped the right hand of Paul, which I think tried to set up the fact that, again, Logan Paul has that quote unquote one lucky punch with his right hand. So Seth, I guess, tried to neutralize that and tried to set that up later on. And in the ring, they went back into the ring. They had a series of pin reversals, which was very impressive, because again, these are moves that are usually done by professionals who have been in the business for some time, and they did it very cleanly. Not only Seth Rollins, but also Logan Paul. And eventually, Logan Paul got his one lucky punch in, but Seth Rollins kicked out, and then later on, Seth powerbomb Paul in the ring. And next was I guess it was a funny spot here, when Seth Rollins powerbomb Paul, or I think it was a pedigreed Logan Paul. Seth Rollins covered Logan Paul in the ring, but the Prime Sports Drink mascot, which came out with Logan Paul during his entrance, actually pulled the leg of Seth Rollins, preventing the referee from completing the 3 count, right? And it was revealed later on that the blue sports drink mascot was actually a guy named KSI. So I understand KSI is he's a famous YouTuber, and Um, uh, it was funny to see him because I understand that he's a business partner of Logan Paul, who's again these guys make a lot of money off YouTube, and to see them in mainstream WWE programming, I guess was it was something. And so when KSI got involved, KSI was actually pulled into the ringside table by Rollins, and um, instead of actually frog splashing Rollins because Logan Paul went to the top rope and was about to frog splash Rollins from the top rope to the announcer tables, just like how he did Roman Reigns before. Um, Rollins stepped out of the announce table and put KSI there. So Paul is essentially frog splashed KSI. And again, at this point, the crowd was into it. It got a lot of "This is awesome" chants. When they got back into the ring, Rollins executed a pedigree, but Logan Paul, surprisingly kicked out. And I think at this point, the match should have been finished. I think it would have been a perfect ending after that big spot, and then Rollins pedigree Logan Paul. I think that should have been the finish of the match. But again, they wanted to do several false finishes because I guess it's WrestleMania. So um, the match continued, and then Logan Paul actually hit a GTS on Seth Rollins, and again another kick out by Rollins after Paul covered Rollins. And again, for me, this at this point was the match was getting a bit too long for my liking, and after that, Paul tried the coast to coast move from the other turnbuckle to the adjacent turnbuckle where Seth Rollins was um, positioned. But eventually, Rollins reversed that, and he reversed that into a super kick. And after the super kick, Seth Rollins did his signature stomp. He covered Logan Paul 1, 2, 3. That was the match. Again, for me, my comments about the match, I think the match started off slow, and it built up into a crescendo because at the start of the match, it seemed like the crowd was not into it, but I think they built the match up perfectly. My only problem though is that I think the match went on a little bit too long. Again, I think they should have finished that match by when Seth hit the pedigree, because I know it's WrestleMania. They're going for a lot of false finishes. They want to give the crowd what they want: longer matches, more exciting matches. But just from an overall wrestling sense, I think the best thing to do was just finish it off there. But overall, the crowd was hot for the match. It was a good match overall, and I have to say, Logan Paul is really a potential star. I think there's untapped potential there with YouTube audience, bringing his audience to the mainstream WWE audience, and I see big things for him. For now, maybe not a main event slot. Maybe where he is right now is his perfect sweet spot, just like the upper mid card. And hopefully, if he gets better in the ring, he becomes less green. He will have a future championship match. So, yeah,